I'm with Wes Durow, Chief Marketing Officer at Mitel. And Wes, you had talked about Mitel's strategy being mobile first, cloud enabled, millennial focused. But you also said that most businesses don't have their business communication environment integrated with their mobile environment and that we haven't unified UC. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. The promise of unified communications has been out there for really over a decade now, and yet adoption rate remains really low. So why is that? What's been the challenge and why people aren't doing it? And I think it begins because the first device we pick up in the morning and the last device we look at before we go to bed is our mobile phone. And as stated, more than 8 out of 10 businesses don't really have those environments built together. And Mitel's unique because we have a mobile business and we enable over a third of the world's SMS traffic. We can take a different perspective and realize, hey, communication starts with that device. How do I build back to the PBX environment? How do I build back towards the desk phone and desktop environment? And that's really the core of what we're trying to do, is to really melt the seams between those two worlds. And the move to 4G LTE is IP, which allows us to have that common network fabric to start bringing together the richness of desktop with the flexibility and capability of a mobile environment.
Now, you just mentioned that Mitel does have a mobile business. For people who aren't familiar with that, can you just quickly explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting because the mobile environment has gone from 2G to 3G and now 4G technologies, going through a pretty big transition, much like we saw in the TDM or the traditional side of the networks as it went to voice over IP. So as networks move to 4G LTE, that is an all IP environment. And Mitel, with the purchase of Mavenir, has a footprint in more than 15 of the top 20 wireless operators. We're also helping people move to voice over Wi-Fi because not only does that provide you a degree of continuity between your business environment and what you do when you're on the go, it can reduce costs, all really key steps to help intersecting that desktop experience and the type of richness of features you expect there, along with the flexibility and mobility of a mobile experience.
Okay, and a few times during the event you talked about tap to connect. What is that and how is it different from click to call or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great question. In terms like CEBP, communication enabled business processes, and click to connect, these are largely been terms that have been built for kind of knowledge workers and desktop environments embedded in some sort of application that's a horizontal application or a horizontal type of office productivity suite type tool. And what we see is, the majority of applications are built today are built for mobile devices first. The majority of spending is going to that. Those people are not click to connect. They're tap to connect. You tap and you move and you're moving on to the next thing. And you want to be able to connect seamlessly, whether it's voice, video, chat, across any device, any aperture to add people. And so we really see that the transition has shifted. We have to build for the device in your hand first, particularly if you want to enable service workers, information workers, anybody that wears a uniform, take that knowledge back into the organization and help educate and inform the traditional knowledge workers by what's happening at a field, kind of a frontline level. You can do that now, and this intersection between mobile, cloud, and a real-time enterprise allows you to do it in a completely different way, Blair.
So expand on that a little. We kept hearing, this term or this phrase, the intersection of mobile, cloud, and real-time enterprise. So what is that, and what's Mitel's role in there?
Yeah, Mitel's role is we have a footprint across enterprises today that is a top 3 footprint across the Americas, number 1 footprint across Europe, and the real-time, deep, rich feature set you'd expect there. I mean, even things in contact center where you've got skills-based routing or a transcription of voicemail services become increasingly important as you move to new services in a cloud environment. We've got 250 million M2M devices in the planet today that are active. When you start thinking about that intersection of those devices out to people and being able to have rich feature set transition, really important. As you start thinking about taking field service personnel and being able to send them in a direction all in real time with location-based services, you're still going to want things like skills-based routing. You're going to want things like transcription of that service call. So these worlds are intersecting fast, and whoever can figure out the seams between real time, between cloud, and be able to do cloud at scale, at a professional grade level, and then be able to handle from a mobile perspective, again, this intersection between IP and how it all works together for the business to solve problems in a different way, that's who's going to win over the next decade. And that's why we feel we've got something unique at Mitel, because we've got strength in each parts of the 3 parts of the equation.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Wes.
Thank you.